These are the echoes of Firebird spirit, prayers, messages, and sacred moments carried on breath and flame. No video, no distractions, just voice. For driving, for walking, for sitting still. Let the words find you, wherever you are, because sometimes the soul hears better with its eyes closed. Welcome, friends. Welcome to this time together that we've carved out of our busy lives just to share, just to listen, just to care, and to connect. What I would call today is a hillside moment, a holy interruption, a gathering without place cards or traditional silverware, yet somehow it's still sacred and we will still be fed. And you'll see what I mean as we go along and hear what our guest messenger, Barb Sixbey, has to offer us today. We're glad you're here, wherever here happens to be for you. How are you today? How's it going? Whenever today happens to be that you're listening, how are you feeling? I'll admit, I've been having a challenging week or two. World events, national events, neighborhood, community events, the threats of expanding wars, dealing with aging friends or people not able to do what they used to do, changing landscape in my heart and in the world. Times that should have felt like celebrations felt more like remembrances. Well, maybe you know what I mean. Perhaps you're living in a part of the world where you're facing much more dire things than that. You're facing bombs exploding or missiles launching. Maybe you are up against a storm raging, or the storm inside you is raging. Listen, if this is your first time here, of course you are welcome. You have a home here. All of us are feeling it in one way or another, and we hope that you will leave feeling better than when you arrived. Now, if you're listening to us on our new Voice of the Flame podcast, which means you're not seeing us and you're not hearing any of the rousing music in this service, but you are still able to enter this energy field of hope and new life at any point through a prayer or a reading or Barb's message. We welcome you too. And those of you who maybe are always watching, but you can't always have your eyes on a screen, check us out on our YouTube channel right now. You can find a podcast. Look for Voice of the Flame, Firebird Spirit, and you will find where we have posted just the narrative parts of Firebird worship for a couple of services. We're just getting started. And eventually we hope to expand to Spotify podcasts and Apple podcasts and other podcast services, because we know that listening is really intimate, and that's where the Spirit can move us. Sometimes the Spirit speaks best to us with our eyes closed. But our goal is that you will find something in our time together that fans the flame, or maybe it's not a flame, maybe it's just a little remaining ember of hope today. And along that line, we ask ourselves, what if the Spirit meets us not in remembered ritual, not just in remembered ritual, but in a present hunger that, gosh, I need something, I want something. Well, it does. The Spirit meets us right where we are. Not just in the same old table, but in the hands of a child who dares to share something, or in the smile of a stranger, or in the greeting of a passerby. So I know it's going to be really hard for some of us right now who are having trouble trusting or believing that anything could ever be any different. But I'm inviting us to just open ourselves to the unexpected, just a little sliver, just the tiniest crack, to let the light through. The unexpected brings an abundance to us. usually out of disruption. The unexpected disrupts things, and then we find that there's an abundance of possibilities in the spirit, new ways of looking at things, and there is holiness in each moment. So to help us center ourselves wherever we are, whenever we are watching or listening, maybe on the subway or standing on the Pacific shoreline, or maybe you are in a desert community and the sand is just, roasting beneath your feet. Or maybe you are in some sort of a shelter, a homeless shelter perhaps, and a storm is raging outside or raging inside. I invite you to pause a minute and reflect on this. When was a time in the last week that I felt the presence of something greater than I am? When was a time in the last week that I felt the presence of something greater than I am? Now, it could be anything, but where you felt the presence was, present. Think about that. And then when you're ready, we'll move on to our communal centering. First, center yourself, and then we will center the group. You ready? Pause.